I'm Scott Lambert.
I'm Jordan Waller.
I'm Jonathan McCurry.
And you're watching the Black and Gold Report on WFXB.
Hello, Braves fans, and welcome to this week's edition of the Black and Gold Report, a show all about UNC Pembroke athletics. I'm Jenna Davison, and on this week's show, we are going to be talking about the upcoming football matchup between your UNCP Braves and the Fayetteville State Broncos. This game will be the third installment of the Two Rivers Classic rivalry, with UNCP capturing victories in the first two contests. The Braves earned a 41-34 double overtime victory in the inaugural matchup between the two schools in 2009. And last year, the Black and Gold shut out the Broncos for a 39-0 home victory to keep the Two Rivers Classic Cup in Pembroke for another year. For this week's show, we are going to show you the Two Rivers Classic press conference from Monday that was held at Capel Arena on the campus of Fayetteville State University in Fayetteville, North Carolina. The game will take place tonight at L.N. Gerald's Field on the campus of Fayetteville State. Kickoff is set for 6 p.m. And now, here's the press conference.
All right, good afternoon. Welcome to the third annual Two Rivers Classic News Conference. I'm Alex Podlegar, the Assistant Sports Information Director at Fayetteville State, which is proud to host the third edition of the Two Rivers Classic Series between UNC Pembroke and Fayetteville State. The third playing of the Classic will take place at 6 p.m. on Saturday at Luther Nick Gerald Stadium on the campus of Fayetteville State University. UNC Pembroke holds a 2-0 lead in the series, which returns to Fayetteville State for the first time since 2009, when more than 8,300 fans and spectators witnessed a thrilling 41-34 double overtime victory by the Braves. All are reminded of the several events surrounding the Two Rivers Classic weekend, including Friday morning's Two Rivers Classic golf tournament at Kings Grant Country Club in Fayetteville, Saturday morning's 2011 Sandhills Heart Walk, and the Fayetteville State Evening with Champions Scholarship fundraiser event, which is also on Friday. I would like to welcome Fayetteville State Director of Athletics, Dr. Edward McLean, as well as UNC Pembroke Director of Athletics, Dan Kenny. And at this time, I'd like to introduce our head table here with the head coaches of each respective program, Pete Shinnick of UNC Pembroke and Kenny Phillips of Fayetteville State. Also representing the Braves back here is linebacker Fred Williams, and for the Broncos is safety Andre Lyles. And before we open the floor to questions from the media, I'd like for each coach, if you will, to comment on the fall practice season, explain some of the changes in your respective teams from last year, and please remark about the growth of the Two Rivers Classic. And Coach Shinnick, we'll start with you.
Sure. Well, Coach Phillips and I were just talking. It seems like this game comes earlier and earlier as the NCAA has kind of shortened our preseason a little bit, and as we get going, it's hard to imagine that this game is actually upon us. So we're Monday game week this week. Very excited about it. How our team has changed, our roster I think has changed dramatically since last year. We were a very senior-heavy team last year. We had a lot of guys that had played in this game over the course of the last couple years that aren't with us right now, and most of the players that we're expecting to contribute the standards, standing by on the sideline, watching the action take place. We do have some key returners in different positions, which I'm sure we'll get to here in a little bit. And just talking about this game, I think from the onset, in 2009, you had a double overtime game in front of an amazing crowd. I thought both schools were very well represented. And then the game that we had last year, I mean, if you go back, I know the final score, we ended up getting a few more points in the second half, but we went into halftime with a 7-0 lead. And so for the majority of the quarters that this game has been played, it has been a very close, well-played game. And I expect nothing else in this edition of it.
And Coach Phillips?
Well, just looking at the game and looking at the past two games that we participated in,
our football team has changed this year from last year. Of course, last year we played with a lot of young football players. What Coach was just talking about, guys that were standing on the sideline in '09 had to step out and play in 2010. And those freshmen and sophomores now are sophomores and juniors, and I think it's going to give us a little bit more depth coming into this football game than we had a year ago. And like Coach said, you know, last year at halftime it was 7-0, and we thought we was in a pretty good situation going into the halftime, considering the circumstances that happened with our football team right before that football game. And in the second half, I thought we got a little bit tired, and with the depth that Coach had a year ago, they wore us down, and that we ended up losing 39-0. And I think coming into this football season, with coming off last year's loss to UNC Pembroke, I think our guys are motivated to get out there and perform a lot better than what we performed in 2010. And you know, we're always looking for a great football game. I think it's a great rivalry. I think it's for the city of Fayetteville, for what we've done with the Two River Classic. It gives our two communities an opportunity to brag a little bit, come to a football game on Saturday at 6 o'clock and enjoy a great football game, because that's what we anticipate, a great football game on Saturday.